Hot Mic is brought to you by Red Wing Shoes of Fargo. Built to last. 3003 Main Avenue, Fargo.
Hot Mic with Dom Izzo.
Really? Really, Dom?
No. I like what Dom's doing.
Okay.
Dom Izzo.
Jeez, come on, Dom. What do you think I am, a magician?
Yeah, I'm fired up, Dom. What else could I say?
Absolutely. It was great to get on the field, and then Dom came up to me, and I'm trying to walk away from me. I just wanted to enjoy myself out there.
Hot Mic.
Great job.
There's got to be some kind of intelligent question about something.
Coach Dom Izzo, WDAY in Fargo, North Dakota.
Can you give me a layup or something?
Hot Mic. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
That program is second to none.
On the networks of WDAY.
You know, if it's not about sports, I find it very hard to concentrate.
Here's Dom Izzo.
Good Tuesday morning. Welcome, everybody, to Hot Mic on WDAY Extra. KSFL TV in Sioux Falls, KMBN in Rapid City in western South Dakota, all parts in between at Inforum.com. Happy Tuesday, everybody. 18th day of August is here. We're on the backside of the 8th month of the year, everybody. Breaking news. We're sharing that here. Beautiful start to our day. Looking forward to an action-packed show. And for those that had their first practices yesterday in Minnesota, waking up a bit sore today, welcome to the grind, because you guys are playing football in a couple of weeks' time. It's so with Labor Day being so late this year, it's messed up everything. I was trying to get our bearings together in terms of scheduling and what we're going to have coming up here, because the Bison play, quote-unquote, so early. UND playing even earlier than that, and the Dragons as well, a week from Thursday. But, again, the NFL season doesn't start till 2 weeks after that. So NDSU will have played 3 football games by the time the Vikings play their first one, which is outrageous. I only thought North Dakota was way out ahead of everybody, where by the time the Vikes play game 1 on whatever it is, September the 13th, some North Dakota schools will have played half their season. They'll have played 4 games already by the time the Vikings play their first. That's just the anomaly of the schedule. I bring that up because yesterday, if you follow the college football scheduling like I do as a nerd, a rash of games came out yesterday for week 0 of next year, or what's going to be the new week 1 for August the 28th, because now the legislation went through that allows teams to start their season on the final Saturday in August. Basically, it's 14 Saturdays. You have to back it up. 14 Saturdays from the first Saturday in December, the season can start, which for the next couple of years at least, that's going to be the final Saturday in August. So there's a rush of teams now moving games around because they want to take advantage of having 2 byes. Like the Bison have 2 byes this year, the one at the end of September, and I believe the first week of November is when North Dakota State will have its 2 byes. FCS will only have 13 weeks to play 12 games. That's not going to change for them because obviously their playoff structure will still start the last Saturday in November. But for FBS football, now we have to get used to that part of the schedule as well, because I think so many have been trained like, hey, the Bison are going to be off Thanksgiving weekend. That's not going to be the case anymore. Bison will be playing on Thanksgiving weekend as they are then Black Friday of all days this year with their game with San Jose State. So you're going to see more and more announcements coming. The Bison still have that date open. I know they're working on it. Remember, the following week, NDSU, this is in 27, will play Montana State in Las Vegas, either on a Thursday or a Friday at Allegiant Stadium in Las Vegas on Labor Day weekend of 2027. So you could play even on that Thursday if you wanted to. So from what I've been told, they're working on that. They have 2 games already slotted for next year. The Montana State game in Vegas and Sacramento State on the back end of their home that starts this year out in California. So it's just a reminder that everything's starting earlier, and the NFL season seems like it's still a ways away. I only say that as well because I was trying to schedule out the Hot Mic fantasy football draft. Like, wow, we got to do that soon. I'm like, well, actually, we don't. I can wait till the first week of September because the NFL's not playing any games. Anyway, I digress. We got a packed show here for you today. We're going to hear from Bison head coach Tim Polasek. Was up at fall camp yesterday. That's our final availability of fall camp there yesterday to get an update on players and then actually start now talking Jacksonville State. I believe his first weekly press conference is a week from today, which we'll be carrying those again for you on Inforum.com and WDAY+. I don't know if we're going to have on television yet. That's something that has to be decided. So, here we go with that. That's coming up a little bit later on in the show. As I mentioned off the top, Minnesota high school football team's got going. I'm wearing my purple today for Barnesville. We'll be checking in with the Trojans in our second hour after – you say disappointing. They made state again, but they didn't make it to U.S. Bank Stadium. They lost in the quarterfinals last year to Holding Ford, so they are definitely aiming to try to get back to Minneapolis this November. And we're going to go up to Grand Forks as well. Grand Forks Central Jake Schauer did a great job. He was a great coach at Park River, great coach at Thompson, and he's doing it now at Central. Because Central for a while was just awful. They were bad. And since he's taken over, obviously they made it to the Dakota Bowl a couple years ago. They won 7 games last year. They're poised to be pretty good again in 2A. And there's obviously the overtones of both they and Red River maybe moving back up to 3A. We're going to ask him about that coming up later on in the second hour of our show. But I want to start with our beloved Minnesota Twins, who have tested Derek Shelton's patience here over the last week and a half or so. We played the sound yesterday after the Twins got beat by the Phillies, and that was about as low or frustrating a moment I think he's had all season long. The Twins just got swept by Philadelphia, dropped to 5 games under 500, 6 games behind in the American League Central race, and it wasn't going to get any easier. They have the Padres on the road coming up at the end of the week, and the Atlanta Braves were coming to Target Field last night, the best team in the National League East. So that's not a team you get healthy against. But Shelton did something interesting last night in regards to his starting pitchers, where it seemed like certainly you can debate this on Sunday, Dean Kramer was cruising. He had 67 pitches, and then everything imploded on him in the, the 6th inning of the game on Sunday, or 7th inning of the game on Sunday. Maybe leaving his starters in a little bit too long. Well, he flipped the script last night in the game against Atlanta, but it was the Twins' bats that finally helped them out. Corey Provis shared this stat as well, that the Twins have fallen behind over the last week. I think 5 times they've given up runs in the first inning. They didn't do that last night, but they scored runs in the first inning. Josh Bell up here, little duck snort down the right field line that just falls in and then bounds into the stands for a ground rule double. Keyshaw and Buxton would score. I mean, he didn't think he just off the end of the bat, but man, that just stays fair. Plates 2 runs, and it's 2-0 Minnesota. Later in the first, Royce Lewis rips one to center. Ryan Jeffers will come in to score. That makes it a 3-0 Minnesota lead. Cody Clemens would add to it. This one bleeds through off the glove of Austin Riley for a base hit. That makes a 4-0 Minnesota lead. Now, Atlanta's got some hitters. This guy's just going to torment me for another 15 years. Ronald Acuna Jr., that is a laser beam, by the way, to left. That scores 2. The Braves have chopped the lead in half. It's 4-2. The Minnesota bullpen did its job. Jeff Hoffman came in, pitched the 8th with 2 runners on, gets a fly ball to Alan Roden to end the inning. Yandres Gomez has 17 saves this year, 16 of them with Minnesota. Comes in, puts the tying run up at the plate, but gets another fly ball. This one off the bat, that's trouble, but it's just warning track power. As Clemens makes the catch, and the Minnesota Twins get a nice win, 4-2, the final. Now, what did Shelton do? Bailey Ober didn't get out of the 5th inning, 4 1/3. He had thrown 94 pitches, but he turned it over his bullpen. Taylor Rogers went 2/3 of innings. You can't say enough about Travis Adams. He worked 2 innings last night, but only threw 18 pitches. Hoffman, you saw, work the 8th, and Gomez goes the 9th. That's a solid win. If that's what it's going to take to get down the stretch here, then you got to do what you got to do. But they open up the series with a 4-2 win. Now, the White Sox got walked off last night by the Cubs, so Minnesota gained a game on Chicago. They're 5 back in the Central race. Half game back of the Tigers, who were idle last night, at 4.5 back You see Cleveland and then Kansas City. In the wild card, this is just every day, I'm telling you. Now you've got 3 teams all tied, as you see on your screen, for the final spot. Baltimore, by virtue of the tiebreakers, is 3 games under 500. This is like the NFC West circa 2010, when 2 7-9 teams are battling out to get the final wild card spot. You've got the Orioles in right now at 61 and 64. Then the Rangers and the Tigers, all with identical records. The Twins and the Blue Jays are each a half game back, just off our screen. We may have to change our graphic to put 8 through 11 on here, because there's that many teams still fighting it out. The Guardians are a game back, then Seattle. So basically you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams for 1 spot in the American League right now. That's the race that's going to work itself out. And that's why we were talking about yesterday on the show that, okay, you may scuffle against the National League, and the American League has. The National League has dominated. This is like the NFC against the AFC in the Super Bowl from 1989 to 1997, when it was Boat Race City in the Super Bowl for the NFC every year. Or actually, before that, go back to the 85 Bears to whenever Elway and the Broncos beat the Packers, 97. That's what it looks like right now in the National League. They're just anytime. So you got to take advantage of when you can. I will say this. The Twins had not beaten the Braves. Provis shared this stat during the broadcast last night for those of you who are watching. This is a remarkable stat. And I understand now it's different with Interleague, but the Twins hadn't beaten the Braves since 2019. That was the Bomba Squad. That's 7 years ago. And I understand that the interleague play changed just a handful of years ago, where now you play every single year against teams from the National League. But still, that's 10 losses in a row they had to Atlanta that was snapped last night. That's a good win. You hang on to that one and see if you can do it again tonight. And then you have a matinee tomorrow before a trip out to San Diego to take on the Padres. By the way, just for reference, in the National League race and the wild card, the Padres hold the last wild card spot. They're 8 games over 500. You just saw there are 3 teams tied for the final wild card spot in the American League. They're all 3 games under 500. In fact, the Diamondbacks, Marlins, and Cardinals are all over 500 as well. It's a wide disparity. It's one of those odd years in baseball where the National League is just infinitely better than the American League. I don't know if that's going to play itself out in the World Series. We'll see. But at least as interleague play has gone this year, it's certainly been tilted to the National League way. Last thing before we get going here, because we got a lot to get to. We got a 4-guest lineup today, so we're packed. I was getting back from fall camp practice yesterday, getting ready for a big soccer game for the Jackman last night. Saw this little newsy nugget out of Albuquerque. And if you've been following anything in college football, especially over the last 2 weeks, since that Friday night ruling that came down a week and a half ago, where it stayed the NCAA's ruling on 5 for 5, meaning guys that were, quote-unquote, deprived, of a 5th year, have all either filed for an injunction or part of this to say, hey, okay, it looks like I'm going to get a 5th year to play. And you're seeing, at least I am on my social media feeds, I'm not sure if you are that have it, that teams all across the country have like these welcome back graphics. Hey, so-and-so, come on back to our team that thought your eligibility was done, but hey, you got a 5th year, now you're back with us. New Mexico yesterday, in the midst of its practice, just decided to pick up a player from Memphis. And a good one at that. Sean Ryder, who we've had on the show, who covers Albuquerque and covers New Mexico, tweeted this out yesterday, that Memphis linebacker Jaden Flaker has transferred to New Mexico. He's a former All-MEAC selection and eligible for a 5th year after he received a temporary restraining order last week. And all of a sudden, this guy's playing for New Mexico. It's August 18th. This is unbelievable. And honestly, we're having free agency. Like the Vikings signed 2 guys yesterday, right? After their first preseason game. This is what we're having happen right here. Flaker started his career at North Carolina Central. If I have my stats correct, I believe he played at the Fargo Dome. North Carolina Central was here in 2022. He was part of that team. No, it was North Carolina A&T. Never mind. North Carolina Central, sorry. But that's why he's got an extra year of eligibility, apparently. Played there for 2 years. Memphis the last 2. Applied for a 5th year, and apparently he's got it. 6'2", 235 linebacker. Those are the kind of guys, if they're out there, you take them. Last year, he had a total of 17 tackles, 1 TFL, 2 forced fumbles, a fumble recovery while playing for Memphis in the American Conference. Now, I did some due diligence here. I checked in with a couple sources at NDSU because they said, hey, are you guys thinking of adding anybody? There are players out there. Now, you have to have been in the portal if you want to add anybody. Or anybody from last year's roster. We already know there's nobody eligible from last year's team to come back. I was told they're not actively looking right now. So I don't know if that can change because school starts next week. There is that part of it, by the way. It's not like real free agency. You just can't find a guy off the street, come play. They actually have to enroll in school. But that's the intriguing element to all of this going on right now. We'll see. But some little news out of Albuquerque and New Mexico. More on that coming up later on in the show. We have a packed guest lineup here on this Tuesday morning. It's brought to us by Northwestern Mutual. I mentioned our conversation with Tim Polasek at a little media briefing before practice yesterday. You'll hear from him coming up in just a few minutes. Our guy Mike McFeely was there yesterday. We'll get Mike's take on what he's seen from Bison Fall Camp and a couple other headlines around the Mountain West Conference, and with our guy Jack Strand. That's coming up with Michael at 9:35. We got a high school football power hour in hour 2. Barnesville's Bryan Strand will join us at 10. As we mentioned, the Trojans had another really solid year. It didn't end the way they wanted, but we'll talk with them about expectations for 2026. And Grand Forks Central's Jake Schauer will join us at 10:35 about the Knights and their expectations for this year as they get set to play their first game a week from Friday. That and a heck of a lot more here on a busy Tuesday morning. So let's get a rock and roll. We'll take our first break. We come back. We'll hear from the head ball coach as we near the end of fall camp and game 1 with Jacksonville State. That's coming up when we come back. Off and rolling on a busy Tuesday morning edition of Hot Mike. Glad you're joining us. Mike McFeely will join us in about 15 minutes worth of time. Yesterday, as mentioned off the top, we had our final media availability for Bison Fall Camp. Officially, I think it shuts down on, and I say shut down, they'll still be practicing, but then the transition goes to game week and the preparation for Jacksonville State. So went up there and got some video and a couple other interviews that we'll share, whether it's on here or on our newscast. We have another preview show coming up on Sunday in all due time. But we had a chance to visit with the head football coach just to not necessarily put a bow on things, but they had their second scrimmage on Saturday to get an update from that. And also a couple of injury updates as well, most notably Reese Kessel, who tweaked his back when we were at practice last Monday and have been held out for the last week. As I was setting up the tripod to get ready to interview Tim, I saw number 81 coming out with shoulder pads and everything. So first question was about Reese Kessel's availability going forward from here.
High intense running on the side, a little bit of individual work the last couple of days here. Just backs are finicky. I think we avoided a scare. I think he's going to be okay. Just a matter of wanting to get him comfortable. He most certainly has improvement to do, but he's also laid down. These guys that are in the third year in our program, from a what-to-do standpoint, we feel comfortable in easing him back. So today will be a little bit individual, some 7-on-7, and then I forecast after the day off, probably about 50% of the volume.
Second scrimmage was on Saturday. Give us an overview of what you saw and solidifying some things maybe you wanted to before 2 weeks out.
Yeah, that walk we were talking about is helpful. I nailed that question. I would say this. Defensively, they had some situations that they should win at a high percentage. 10 or 12 two-point plays. Two-point plays aren't very, very successful in the college game. And so they operated at a high level there. I thought they won the low red zone compete drills. The future offense did really well. Okay, so overall the scrimmage, I think defense probably gets the nod. I think their spirit and energy was on point. But then you look at how we responded on offense yesterday with the situational pass stuff and pass protection in a really compromised position. That might have been Nathan Hayes' best practice in his time here, even while he's trying to work through a hamstring. So some really good back and forth. We didn't tackle quite as much as we originally planned, just with the amount of injuries that we are acquiring right now. Nothing major for this season, but I wanted to take care of the team.
Yeah, just talk about the relief that Kessel's healthy and how, the other tight ends, when they see he kind of maybe limited a little bit, how have they elevated or tried to elevate in that absence?
Well, there's a direct correlation to when somebody goes down, it creates opportunity for others. And sometimes I have looked at it as an offensive coordinator and a head coach like, okay, that'll be all right. That's going to create some competition. That's going to create some opportunity that we could pay the dividends off or get rewarded later. And so you've seen that group be forced to put Zenzen in some different situations in the past game. I thought he answered the bell. You see Gabe Cunningham's ability to practice rep after rep after rep, and he continues to get better. So there's always a little bit of a blessing in disguise when somebody does go down for a period of time, as long as it's not extended.
Any other spots you've kept an eye on or keep an eye on this last little bit of fall camp?
I don't know. It gets to this point. We're 12 days out. I'm really happy to be able to get to this point and talk to you guys about how we're really – the excitement and all that of the move up is over. Okay, now a coach or the man in the arena goes through a multitude of emotions, and that's where we're at now. So we've got to attack these concerns or weaknesses. We got to highlight our strengths. And so to answer your question, yes, the corners got to keep coming on. And if it's going to be a whole group doing that, great. Or is it going to be 2 or 3 guys emerge? Linebacker, again, those combinations, I'm starting to look at the flexibility we have there in some different packages. I think that's playing out. And so the last part of this is how is Nathan Hayes going to play in big moments? He's really prepared. He's earned this opportunity. But his legacy will solely be dependent on does he or does he not make the plays, and does he be himself? And so those are some areas that we still guys, there is an element of we got to get to the games to see. Like if I could predict the future and give the fans all the insight to how it's going to go down, doesn't mean I'm not confident. It's just we're going to need some of these games at the FBS level to figure out which way we have to redirect some recruiting, which way do we have to tweak some schemes, and then we're going to have to go from there. This is going to be fun.
You talk about position groups. So offensive line, if you think of 5, 6, 7, if you come up with a number?
Yeah, I'm going to master this year on how to answer all these questions. The kids that we have are doing a phenomenal job. We love the amount of improvement. They're all coachable, and they're trying to be very best Bison they can be to hold up the legacy of what it is to be a Ram. That's what we got. And they're playing, and they're getting better every day, and they're going to have to make their minds up that they want to be a connected group, and so that we can come and talk about, man, they're playing connected. Each and every one of these guys are doing a good job as a group. The 5 that we're going to send is pretty solidified. There's no reason for me to give it to you guys at all, because we don't need anybody being deterred from doing their best and continuing to push, because at the end of the day, we're going to need 8 of them.
We've talked about some of this before, Tim, but I saw some list where you guys are like going to be the 3rd most traveled college football team
right?
this year, behind, I think, Hawaii and Sac State, I think. Yeah. And so I don't know if you've addressed that, or apparently you...
No, you guys are good at what you do. Last year wasn't...
I spent way too much time on the internet, but anyway.
Last year, wasn't that the case, too, that we...
It's definitely an FCS.
An FCS for sure,
yeah. There's been a lot of attention. I've worked behind the scenes with Josh Rosenthal and Derek Lucan at our travel plans. We've had meetings about traveling. My biggest concern with the amount of travel that we have is simply Sundays and the preparation for the next week. I'm not that concerned about going out right now unless I learn something new that I'm unaware of. Traveling west to play is not the challenge in it. It's getting back and getting to sleep, getting refreshed, and putting together a good plan for the next week. But I guess I would say it's kind of exciting to go see some new cities. I think in year one, there's going to be a lot of learning that happens. I think we're going to have to reflect on every trip and, like, is there something we do different, and log that away for the next time we go. And so there's not much we can do about it except for learn and grow from each opportunity, then rise up to the challenge and be good road warriors.
I want to ask you, Thomas Roberts is either the most talked about guy on the team, most popular, or maybe the strongest guy on the team. What have you noticed in the couple of years he's been?
I can't deny or confirm any statement. No, just immense improvement. Our camp still matters. And it's not show up for 4 hours and think you're going to get evaluated. You need to show up 2 days and do what he did. And then, a coach has got to go sit in the stands with his dad and promise him you're going to take care of him. And if your son does the work and stays true to the development, a lot of people can have the same story as Thomas Roberts. And I think we'll see. As the season travels, I would predict that could be one of these stories that grows and grows and grows. We're really appreciative of his toughness, his approach, and his bison pride for a redshirt freshman is pretty high.
I'm sure you've answered this before, but how has it changed walk-ons now that you're under the FBS rules?
There's just going to be less, guys. I mean, we are recruiting. It's a great question, Eric, but we are recruiting to a 105 model. That somewhere in there, right, is going to have 95 or so guys on scholarship. It's one of my concerns with 105. At some point, maybe after the season, I think there's a story there, a real story to talk about it. I really hope that's one of the things the NCAA, people like Gene Taylor and his assistants, continue to look at. I just don't think 105 is the magic number. 108 is a lot better than 105. 111 is a lot better than 105 because we're here to cultivate opportunity for young people. And that's to get a degree from an institution like North Dakota State. Number 2, become the best they can be. And then number 3, reach their goals and their dreams of earning a scholarship.
Good stuff there from the head ball coach yesterday, ranging from offensive line to a couple health updates. Kessel, as I mentioned, was back out doing some limited work. There were a few others. Nate Tosted's still out. He's not going to be ready for the opener, doesn't look like. So the 5 guys that Polasek's talking about are a set of the ones that we've been surmising here for the last couple of weeks are going to be the guys who will be out there on offensive line. We had DJ Volts on yesterday. He was in that conversation at corner. Volts is there. Marion Moore is in there. I think Najee Nelson is in that. That part I'm really interested to see what they trot out for the opener, certainly against a 6'8 guy from Jacksonville State. All right, we'll break. We come back. Our guy Mike McFeely will join us. The never-ending Mountain West Pac-12 battles continue. Plus, Mike's thoughts on Jack Strand's opener from this past weekend. We're back on Hot Mike in about 4 minutes.
This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Oh, it's Mr. McFeely.
I have seen the future, and he was wearing number 5, and I ain't talking about Robbie Grimsley, folks.
Took out the muffins, took out the trail mix, took out the cookies. They stole the monster cookies.
Wow, that's awesome. That is so awesome. Let's do some broadcasting.
Yeah. Mike's appearance on Hot Mike is brought to you by Sunset Lanes of Moorhead.
There he is. Always well to knock him down. Our guy Mike McFeely joins us. I can tell you
knock him down and knock him back as well. Yeah.
And I can tell you in the 7 years that you have joined us on our weekly Tuesday programs, I've never had a chance to talk about a former Dragon quarterback getting NFL preseason snaps. But you were out at Wild Wings on.
We never talked about Ed Schultz then.
No.
Okay.
But we did talk about.
I'm not even sure if he ever got preseason snaps. I think.
But Jack Strand did.
Yes, he did.
What do we make of what you saw on Friday night?
Okay. First of all, the Falcons are horrible at quarterback, and I don't mean that as a shot at Jack Strand. He's a 22-year-old undrafted free agent rookie, but the 3 guys above him are not good at all. Penix is hurt. First of all,
he's hurt.
Tua
not good.
Was awful. And who's
Cooper
the third guy?
Rush.
Oh yeah, Cooper Rush, the old Cowboys guy, is incredibly, as I described it in my column on Saturday, nondescript. And he's in the NFL, so he's doing just fine in life.
Yeah.
But there is an opportunity here for our guy Jack Strand, I think, to make the team as the third quarterback.
Yes.
Which is
amazing.
And I've been communicating with the Falcons beat writer from the Atlanta Journal-Constitution, and he was telling me even a couple months ago, he's like this kid has like a cult following among Falcons fans. Like they think he's great. Like he's a small school guy, and he's huge.
He is.
And his arm is
Monster
an absolute
arm.
howitzer. And they love this guy. Like he's like a legend already in Atlanta. And he said part of it is because the guys above him are awful.
Or what they are.
But he said it's like this guy's got to follow, it's just a fantastic story.
Yes.
I think it was about a year ago at this time when I first got wind of there's NFL scouts at Dragons games. What?
At camp.
I'm sorry, at camp. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And so I went over there and sat down with Jack and Lockway, and that's when Lockway, the head coach, Steve Lockway, was telling me yeah, we've had all 30 teams here, and we're expecting. It's like, what?
Yeah, I know.
Already? He's like, yeah.
Yeah.
At every practice, we have scouts. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, I should probably write about that. And so I did, and it was I'm just going, okay. And so
it's fabulous. And see him play, he looked great. The numbers aren't going to reflect. And again, that's the hard thing is you've always cautioned me on to not extrapolate too much out of NFL preseason football, but he's got to go out there and do what he can. And obviously we'll see what happens this weekend in game number 2.
He might start. Did you see that?
I did.
Stefanski dropped a little nugget in his weekly press conference yesterday that it's between him and Cooper Rush potentially to start because it's the second preseason game.
Well, but you already know what you have with Cooper Rush. Why not give Jack Strand a chance? You know what I mean?
I mean, if
awesome.
We might have to have a party, a watch party at B-Dubs in Moorhead or maybe my house.
Let's do it.
Let's just sit around my house and watch Jack Strand start
Saturday at noon.
Oh, I thought it was Friday.
No, it's Saturday at noon. Falcons, Colts. That's all.
I'm not having people in my house on a Saturday. Friday's fine, but Saturday no. I think it's great. It's as I wrote. You and I and Kolpak and the local media are all into this NDSU to the Mountain West thing, and it's deservedly so. This is very exciting for NDSU. The number of storylines that keep coming out of this, in part because it's new, but it also there's just better stories in this FBS journey than there ever was going to be in FCS at this point of NDSU's tenure in FCS. And I'll get into that in a second, by the way. I have things to say there on that front too. But all of these great stories coming out of North Fargo, the best local story right now, because it is Jack Strand.
Yep.
It's a Moorhead State guy, and he stayed. It's not like Jack Strand, whatever, New Mexico quarterback who transferred from Moorhead State.
MSU
Moorhead, No, he was a 4-year player at Moorhead State and stayed there.
Yes, he did.
Even though he was getting at least a few overtures from other schools, perhaps some in the region that thought they needed a quarterback at that time. And I mean, it's just a great story.
Awesome.
And he said, I'm not going to pretend that I know him well, but I've talked to him enough times to interview him. What a
awesome
nice young guy.
Yes.
Incredibly smart. Going to be an astronaut. Wants to be an astronaut. Like he doesn't want to be an accountant or an engineer.
His backup plans are okay.
Yeah. He's like, whatever happens to him, he's going to be just fine in life.
Yes.
Great family.
Awesome,
I talked to his mom and dad back before the draft. Just great. They're so excited. Bloomer
is going nuts. Yeah.
Yes. Just awesome.
It's a great story. I saw you wrote this today because I know we just heard you ask Polasek from yesterday about the amount of miles that the Bison are going to put on. And you got it in your column. We can bring it up
18,900
on the screen. I mean, look at this. These are the amount of miles. Like, obviously, Hawaii is always going to lead this because Hawaii is
they make
where they're
6
located.
or 7 trips to the mainland.
As you wrote, it's kind of hard to to commute from Honolulu.
It's hard to take a Greyhound from hard to take a Red River Trails bus to Honolulu.
Seeing Stanford, then Atlantic Coast next to him, just is the dumbest thing ever. But yeah, obviously Stanford has to make trips to Clemson or Florida State or North Carolina State. Then Sac State, and we've made plenty on that with their trips to Ohio and Illinois they have on tap. And there's North Dakota State. And this goes back to something that Gloria Navarez told us both when the invite was extended and accepted in February. We are a plane league.
Yes.
This is how we get around, and this is obviously new reality for the Bison.
But that's also, by the way, I'm going to go back in time. One of the things that Matt Entz told me, like right away.
Yeah.
Like I'm talking in 2020 when he and I were talking about the possibility of NDSU getting to the Mountain West someday. I brought up NDSU and Fargo are quite a ways out of the footprint for the Mountain West, Matt. And Entz's first thing he said, and he was right on so many things in this whole deal, was it's a plane league anyway.
Yeah. Yep.
Like nobody buses in the Mountain West. So it's not like the Valley where you get 3 bus trips a year potentially.
Yep.
So everybody flies. So what's the difference whether you fly from Laramie to Fargo or Laramie to, at the time, San Diego? Like it doesn't make it. It's a plane ride. It's a plane ride. It doesn't make any difference. And so it's going to be a challenge. One of the storylines about this season, and if I recall, and maybe I didn't see the video that you guys were playing, but when I asked Polasek about it, the look on his face was like, "Whoa, what?" Like he knew they were flying a lot, but not
maybe the amount.
The fourth highest team.
Most.
I think I actually said third on the question, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
The average trip is 3,100 miles round trip. So the average flight is 1,500 miles.
Right, because none of the close teams they play on the road this year, like either El Paso or DeKalb, they come here.
And
so,
Wyoming's coming here
Laramie
would be the closest. And DeKalb, I think, are the 2 closest.
So all those are home games this year. So that totally counteracts that.
And I wonder if someday if they mix up the schedule a little bit,
even out a little bit,
to even it out, so that it's
probably
because that would it's not fair, quote unquote, to NDSU to more in terms of, I think, the attendance at home. Totally. Not that they're going to have any trouble this year with attendance, but if they could get New Mexico and Air Force here every other year and then travel to Hawaii and Vegas, then it would balance out the schedule a little bit.
Totally. It's interesting because he's been, I would say, extra edgy about the return. He said that yesterday about getting back and then prep for the next week.
It's not about the miles.
No, it's about getting back.
The return. Yes. I mean, he has brought that up multiple times. Tim Polasek has to us about getting back
Sunday.
Because when you drove to Brookings and the game was at 1 o'clock or whatever it was, and the game was over at 4, you're on the road by 5, you're back in Fargo by 8 o'clock on Saturday night. That ain't happening anymore.
No.
That is not happening.
No, the earliest they'll get back for a game, let's take San Jose State out of the mix, is UNLV, which is a 6 o'clock Central Time kick. So let's say the game is over at 9:30. Just with commercials now, it's going to go longer.
Yep.
They leave at 11, probably back here by 2:30. Yeah. That's probably the earliest they're going to get back.
And again, nobody's complaining.
No.
They knew all this getting into this deal.
Yep. But that's the deal now.
The biggest question is like Donovan Woolen said, we're worried about the recovery, getting back. So what's the recovery plan for Dom Izzo? Because you're going to be making all the same miles, I think, on the same plane.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, so you're going to be traveling 18,907 miles by air as well and getting back at 2 o'clock in the morning.
Does anybody care about that? Oh, I'm doing it.
I think your body does.
Yes, it will.
Do not take offense to this.
Okay.
You're not in as good a shape as Donovan Woolen. Okay?
Breaking news.
So do not.
Yeah.
But so they're going to be going around the plane handing out water on the trip to Hawaii. Get in on that.
Get it? Take some?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All right.
Put down the Mountain Dew.
I haven't had Mountain Dew in a long time.
It's gross. God, that's terrible soda. God, it's bad pop. That's the worst pop ever is Mountain Dew. That's worse than a Almond Joy candy bar.
Almond Joy. Well, coconut stinks first off.
My wife's favorite candy bar, by the way.
Is it really?
Yes.
Coconut's terrible.
It is. Yep.
I'm a Sprite guy. Is that okay?
That's okay, but just go for the water.
have
When they're
water.
handing out
Got
water.
it. Do
go
it.
for the water.
All right, let's break. We come back. I want to talk with you about the opener. Jacksonville State is all 11 days away, by the way.
About that.
I know it. We're coming up.
I'm tingly right now.
We'll talk about the
I'm
Gamecocks
tingly.
coming to town. This is a pretty good football outfit. We previewed them yesterday. We'll get Mike's thoughts on it and much more. We roll on in hour one of Hot Mike. Back after this. Welcome back, everybody. A few minutes left with Mike here at our first hour. Sources tell Hot Mike that the Bison season opener apparently is 11 days away. Have you heard this? There's a football game next Saturday.
I have heard that. And there, okay. I referenced earlier, I got to get something off my chest.
Yes.
Okay. And this is not like some angry rant, but I just want to address it.
We love those, though.
I know we do. I love them too because they're very cathartic. They're very cathartic to me.
We do what we can here.
If I didn't have angry rants, I would just explode, and I'd be like a pink mist.
Stanza. It'd be like a stanza.
Yep. George is getting mad.
Exactly.
I was on Nate Brown's show, the radio host from South Dakota. Good guy. Enjoy going on his program.
Mm-hmm.
This is not a shot at Nate or anything else. He's welcome to call me anytime. But he asked me a good question, actually, on my most recent appearance, and it was, he said, are Bison fans, are anybody up there upset or missing the South Dakota State game this year? Is there talk about the Dakota marker trophy not being played for? And I took about 1 second to think about it, and I said, no. And it's not, again, this is not a shot at South Dakota State. I mean, what happened.
Yep.
One team went one way and the other
went another.
Is staying where they are for now. But I mean, I've heard nothing from, and I get out quite a bit. I mean, I bowl, right? I golf with regular people, regular fans, some season ticket holders. I get out to the grocery stores. But because of what I do for a living, people will approach me in the grocery store and want to chat about things, which is great. I appreciate it. I enjoy the conversations. But there has been nobody that has said, oh, I'm really going to miss that South Dakota State game. Or, oh, boy, I'm really going to miss that UND game. Oh, I'm really going to miss the Missouri Valley Conference. I've heard nobody say that.
I've had people ask me, in fact, just last week when I was approached by both people I know and strangers, like the overarching question I got is, how do you think they're going to be? What do you think of this new league? That's what I got to a T. I would say out of 10 people that asked me that, there was 9 out of the 10. I didn't get anything about the Jackrabbits or the FCS.
Like just nothing.
No.
And I told, I think, and that, by the way, that goes for NDSU coaches because we're at practice whenever they're open. It goes for NDSU administrators.
Correct.
Because we still see, Matt Larson and Derek Lang and Todd Phelps before he went on to his next job. It has never come up. And part of it, especially for the administrators and coaches, is, I mean, they got to look forward.
They're looking ahead, right.
They're looking forward.
Yes.
I mean, they can't worry about.
No.
And nobody was anyway. It's like.
No.
I just don't sense that. And it's going to be interesting this year because all I'm getting, like you, is, I had somebody the other day go, God, the Air Force game is going to be unbelievable. Like, wow, I can't, they're going to go to it. Like, oh, this is going to, it just, and the Hawaii game, of course, and how do they fit into this new league? And gosh, maybe this G6 thing is going to be way tougher than we thought it was because I think you voted them, 20th in the G6 poll or something? And you're the hometown guy. So, I mean, it's just, there's just none of that. It just, I just don't.
No.
I just sense no looking back at all.
And it's, especially because all of it's so new as well. Like all this coming is exciting. It's different.
Right.
And it's new. That's what we've been talking about. Of what's to come.
I just think that it's just in terms of the fan base, and I don't know the donors. I don't know. Don't run in those circles, but I got to believe they're pretty jacked up about this.
Yes.
As well. So that's good. And NDSU, because they're NDSU, is always going to take shots from people on whatever. It's just stupid. but their ticket sales, to me, they look really good right now.
Yeah.
They may not sell out every game, but they're going to sell out. I bet they sell out 3 of them, 3 of the 6 home games, which is more than they've sold out in the last 7 years.
I was going to say 7. Yeah, 7 years they're trending in that direction.
You know, and then if things do take off well this year,
then look out.
Yep. And you know, but if they don't, it's like but it's okay. I think.
Yeah.
I hope the fan base understands this might not be exactly without a pothole or two here this year.
Just steamrolling teams. No,
right. It's not.
It's not.
There's going to be a lot more fourth quarter games that are going to turn into losses. And I don't mean that as an insult to anybody, but they're playing better competition.
Yes.
No matter what you read on the internet, no matter the shots that these idiots in other markets take, they're playing consistently better competition.
Yes, correct.
And as the future goes forward and they haven't even gotten into the non-conference games yet where you go, wow.
Right.
Northern Illinois is having South Florida come to DeKalb next year.
For its opener next year.
South Florida is really good.
South Florida is one of the top teams in the group of 6.
And the American Conference is really good.
Yep.
That's what is hopefully ahead for North Dakota State.
Like the Bison game with Jacksonville State next Saturday, I encourage everyone then after that to flip on and watch Memphis UNLV. Yes. Memphis is one of the best G6 teams. We certainly think UNLV is.
UNLV is going to be one as well.
I mean, that is a huge game for the G6 playoff spot.
And
really
so
is.
all of that aside, to get back to why I went off on this tangent here, I just don't hear anybody going, oh, God, I sure wish we were still in FCS. Now, if NDSU goes 4-8 and 4-8, then people might be going, oh, boy.
The only thing can I respond real quick on this before we got to go? When we get to December, and let's say the Bison aren't in the Mountain West Championship game and have to wait, 2 weeks for their bowl game.
Yeah.
Let's assume. Yeah. And the FCS playoffs are going. Do you think then we would hear it? Like, hey, this would be the time you'd be playing at home.
How many people were at the Illinois State playoff game last year? How many people?
There was 10,000 people.
How many people were at the semifinal against Incarnate Word?
I think 12, whatever it was.
How many people were at the Mercer game 2 years ago?
14, I think. It wasn't great.
Okay, so does that answer your question?
Yeah. If that's the not FOMO even, but just we missed that part of it, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah. But the counterpoint, what if they are playing in the Mountain West Championship
if they win 6 games, they'll get some kind of bowl game, and that's going to be the next thing after that.
Correct.
And it's whatever.
Yep. Great stuff as always. Next week, we'll actually be talking about the football game.
I know. We didn't even get to Jacksonville State,
That's all right.
who are pretty good.
By the way, breaking news, they're all right. Yeah,
they're
we talked about it yesterday.
This is not – I wrote about the other day, 6.5-point favorites.
Which
NDSU
is dropped, by the way. It was 10
to open.
May. Yeah.
This will be a test for NDSU, which is good.
Correct. Yes. This is not John Gross's Jacksonville State team of 2015.
Well, I mean, maybe. It's also not Carson Wentz isn't playing quarterback.
It's not the Bison team of 2015.
Nick DeLuca's not playing linebacker.
Greg Bernard playing defensive
Correct.
end. Yes.
And there's not like 3 NFL offensive linemen on the field for NDSU. So it balances out.
Great to see you, man. Thanks for coming by. We'll talk to you next week, all right?
Yep.
Mike McFeely joins us each and every Tuesday at 9:35. His appearances are brought to us by Sunset Lanes out of Moorhead. We'll break. We come back. Hour 2, we'll get going. Our high school football power hour begins with Barnesville. The Trojans ready for big things in 2026. We'll do that when we come back.
This is Hot Mike with Dom Izzo. Presented by Northwestern Mutual.
Getting fancy there. We got our own Barnesville Custom Open to welcome us back to Hour 2 here on a Tuesday morning, our high school football power hour. We'll talk with Grand Forks Central's Jake Schauer coming up in about a half hour's time. But you saw the logo there, and I'm wearing my Barnesville purple just for them. Opening day of high school football practice was yesterday across the state of Minnesota. As the games will be coming in just a couple weeks' time, it's always great to visit with head coach Bryan Strand, as we do each and every year to get the season underway. Only Barnesville and you would have expectations where if you don't make it to U.S. Bank Stadium, it's a down year. You had another great year, but obviously it ended around early. That's the expectations, though, I know you've set. So how do you evaluate last year? Was it good, okay, or didn't live up to what you wanted it to be?
Well, I think, we had a first-year quarterback in Jake. We had a lot of guys that really hadn't seen the field a ton. Our district was absolutely loaded.
Yeah.
Pillager, Staples, DGF were all absolutely fantastic last year. So you got a little bit more bumped up than normal years. We didn't have probably maybe as much depth. So I think we knew that we could compete in our section. Holly finished the year very strong. They didn't have a great regular season, but they came out at the right time.
Yep.
And they gave us a very good battle in the section championship game. But I mean, that is our goal. I mean, I think as a coach, that's what you want your goal to be, to get to that state tournament. And then, whatever happens. Holdingford was a fantastic team. We got inside the 20 twice on them and did not score, and we lost the game by 2 scores. So if we're able to punch those in, but I mean, they had, I want to say 22 to 24 seniors on that team.
Yeah.
They're just loaded to bear. And sometimes you get beat by a better team. And it wasn't that our kids played bad. It was just they were better than us on that day.
Now it's a new year. Tell me the thoughts starting up yesterday. You've done this a long time. What are the emotions when you got going yesterday? Do you get butterflies, excitement on day one?
Yeah. I plenty of times I'm thinking, God, I'm 54. I'm probably getting too old for this stuff. And then you get out day one and you're running around and you're coaching and having fun. And then afternoon, go back to work and I'm walking around like I'm like 80. So, it is fun. It's like, I say it's just as enjoyable now as it was in the first year. And I said, it's relationships. It's the kids getting out there. We got a very good squad. I think, again, offensive line-wise, end-to-end, we might be better than we were last year. We got a lot of those guys back, and the pieces that are filling in have been doing a really, really good job. And got Jake back at quarterback, and we got 3 new backs that we're evaluating. So, again, I think it's if we were able to stay healthy, I think we are at least in the runnings for the section title again. Holly is loaded to bear. They've got fantastic skill guys. And Pelican Rapids has 12 seniors, and that quarterback's about as good as there is around.
Really
They've
good.
got a fantastic left tackle. They have been right there for a couple years, and it's going to be a really tough 3-way battle, and you're really going to want to get the 1 seed because then you don't need to face the other one early.
Yep.
But it should be fun. It is fun.
That experience for the guys that are back after being thrown into the fire last year, how much does that help itself now with camp getting going, that they know what to expect? They've gone and done it before.
Yeah, most of our kids dress varsity 10 through 12. So, they've been around that. Funny is that this is the first time now in a few years that we haven't had anybody from the state championship team on squad.
Yeah.
Now, Jake was there as a stat guy that year because he couldn't dress as a 7th grader, but 8th grade he made it to the state championship game. So he's the only one that really has U.S. Bank experience on our current squad. So, but we want to see him get down there. But it's a long, windy road. Especially when our schedule's not easy.
I'm looking at that as well. You mentioned all those teams back. Pillager, you got to go to Pelican. Hawley goes without saying. Perham's on there, DGF. But I think you welcome that, right? Because you and I have had that conversation before where you steamroll teams during the season and you haven't been tested until maybe you get to the Fargo Dome or to the state tournament.
Right. And the only good thing about that is you stay healthy.
True.
Football is, injuries happen. It's part of the game and this and that. But, your biggest goal, mine is make sure my team stays healthy throughout the year. So when we get our key guys off, we're getting them off, and sometimes it's in the first half. We want them. We want to make sure those guys are staying healthy, and they don't like it, but it's like at times that's what you got to do. And it also gives good playing time experience for your younger guys.
I have to ask, Bryan, from taking this program to the heights that you have, the expectations just around town I know are super high, but that also builds in a culture where guys want to come out and play. They want to play for you. They want to represent Barnesville and play football there. You describe how that changed over the last decade and a half, where you guys were successful, that more and more guys want to come out and play football.
Yeah, at our peak, I want to say we were probably in the low 70s for numbers, and that was right around the time that we won it. We had a junior class that year that was, I said it was great parenting. Out of 70 kids in the class, they had 52 boys, I think it was. We had like 26 or 27 out for football. So Numbers matter here. You know, it is a struggle at times. I mean, I'm still making phone calls. I'm going to houses, trying to get kids to play. You know, the more numbers you have, it's easier to practice. It's easier to give kids breaks, because when kids get fatigued, that's when they get hurt. So we want numbers out. Right now, we're about maybe as low as we have been. We're at 53 kids right now. And for us, for the area, you know, I talked to Eli yesterday. I think they're at 39. I think Holly's probably maybe right around us, maybe even a little bit better for numbers. But the Rosos are getting to 25 to 30. You know, the different you know, they're just not getting as many numbers, which in turn, you might be great early, but you got to keep your guys healthy, and that's really hard to do if you don't have quality backups.
We were talking off air, and I saw him up at Bison practice last week. You and Peter Nats have had a great relationship, great rivalry. He's not coaching anymore. What's that going to be like when you play Holly this year and not see the big guy across the way?
I know. I always said he's the old guy around here, so I said, God, it might be me now. I mean, he looked it. I mean, I don't think I look that way, you know, but I can't even tell you as much respect as I have for Peter and the program that the Holly coaches have built over there. And we had great games over the years. And one thing, Peter was always going to have his team ready. They were going to play hard. There's some years they may not have had the same quality across the field, but they were always going to come out and play hard. And Holly generally has good football. Regardless, they're going to play hard. And the one thing about Peter is he's always going to coach his guys up. So the utmost respect for him and everything that he's accomplished. But you know, I think he's ready to follow the Bison around a little bit and probably fish a lot and lead that life. But like I said, he still had many, many years in him, in my opinion. And I want to say he went out at 199 wins. So I'm really glad he didn't get.
I was going to say 200 would have been against you guys.
It would have been against us. And my wife actually said, "Oh, I feel bad for Peter." I go, "Do you realize it would have been against us?" Well, he could have gotten it earlier in the year. I go, "Well, he didn't, but it would have been against us." Well, it would have been nice for him to get that. I'm like, come on. Especially with a son on the team. She's like, "Oh, I guess I didn't think of it that way."
See, that's what makes that rivalry so great. That have that kind of interaction as well. And that was organic, right? There wasn't a rivalry between Barnesville and Holly in football, and that came along under both you guys there, right?
Absolutely kicked the living crap. My first 2 years here, I mean, it was. I mean, they had a couple teams there when I first got here. I'm like, how does anybody even compete? And that's when they used to run up to the line.
Yes.
You got time.
Yep.
Guys can't figure out who had the ball. You know, and. Slowly we started getting the kids to believe a little bit. Our talent started shifting a little bit. So, you know, but over the years we had so many good battles, and I want to say I had more games against Holly than we had against anybody else on our schedule.
I've never asked you this as well. Obviously, your son Michael went on and was a great player for you, and then went on and played at MSUM. But to now see the different Trojans popping up, not just in Moorhead, but other places as well, sending guys on to play at a higher level. Talk to me about that, because I don't know if anybody saw that coming as well, that you were going to start producing college players.
Yeah, I want to say, I think the last time I looked, I think we had 17 of them that have gone on. Gann Ballgreen's actually at Moorhead State now. He's doing fantastic.
Yep.
Looks great. Ethan Larson's playing at Concordia right now. And then that tiny Zen kid is up there at the Bison. So, I mean, it is fun, and we get out and watch the games and stuff like that, and it's just fun to watch their development and things that they learned get expanded, I guess. You know, they're fantastic guys, and all these guys have worked so hard, and, you know, it's fun to see your kids that you coach at least go on and try a year of college football.
Right. So I'm interested. You've done this for a while. Have you changed anything up like for the first week of camp in terms of, you know, hardcore? We're going to go 2 days like this. Have you amended things that you've learned over the last couple of years about how we start the first, 7 or 8 days of fall camp?
Man, we're dictated by the state so hard. You know, like today, you can go 2 practices in a day as long as one is a non-padded practice. Otherwise you're limited. So you can go 2 in one day. The next day has to be a single practice. You can only wear shoulder pads for an hour of that. There's still no contact besides bags. There's a lot of stipulations. Well, then we're starting so late. We have back to school with teachers next week, Monday through Wednesday. So we're going regular practices after school and at night. And then Thursday we'll go back to a day. And then Friday we have a scrimmage on Saturday. So you're only limited to no pads, helmet only, and a walkthrough the day before the scrimmage. And this year we're going up, it's just Manoman and us. And John said, no one else wants to come up here with us. So it'll be good. Again, John's a fantastic coach, fantastic man. And he even offered if we brought some scout plays, if at the end, if they want us to run, if they, vice versa, if they want to run some scout plays at us to get ready for some of the teams, they go, well, yeah, but we might face somebody that throws the ball, John.
Exactly.
But we're going to be able to do a lot of stuff, just the 2 of us. And I like that. My goal at the scrimmage is to see a little bit of live, but to get out of there healthy.
Yeah. Before we go, I know you're a diehard Red Sox fan. How have the emotions gone this year? I mean, Alex Cora gets fired in April or May, and now Boston's good.
Yeah. No, they had that, 14
That was like a 14-game win streak. Yeah, something crazy like that. Yeah.
So, yeah, they have been absolutely fantastic. My kid told me the other day that next year they're scheduled to play at the Field of Dreams, so I think he's hinting that he wants tickets. But no, they've been doing really well, and sometimes a change in leadership is enough to spark those guys, and they're hitting the stride at the right time.
It's great to see you, man. I always love doing this to get the season get going. Hope everybody stays healthy. Good luck in the opener. We'll talk later this fall, okay?
Sounds good.
Good to see you, bud. There he is, Bryan Strand joining us, longtime head coach of the Barnesville Trojans. They open up, as you saw on the schedule, there September the 3rd. They host Roseau on that Thursday night, and you'll see that because that leads into Labor Day weekend where there's going to be a bunch of games. The Spuds play on that Thursday night as well to get out for the holiday weekend. There'll still be a bunch of games on Friday, but Thursday, the September 3rd, is going to be a busy night across the state of Minnesota. And you look at, again, Pelican Rapids is going to be really good. Hawley's got a new head coach. Nathan Brager, the old Ada coach, has taken over for Peter Natz at Hawley. They're always in the mix. Staples is good. Pillager, with John Clark's brother Paul Clark coaching there. That's where Earl Brown, the big lineman from North Dakota State, is a freshman now. Earl was playing at Pillager, was really good. Those are the teams that are now routinely on Barnesville's schedule. But you look back, it's a rare occurrence when they're not making it to U.S. Bank Stadium. Like last year, Holdingford got them in the state quarters. Remember, I think we talked about it the following Monday. Like that you're just not used to Barnesville not being part of the Final Four. And they will certainly be in the mix again in 2A football. And looking forward to watching them play again this upcoming year. Good stuff there. All right, we'll break. We come back. Got a bunch of emails get in. I haven't talked about also the Mountain West and Pac-12 have moderately settled things. We'll get into that as well as we roll on a Tuesday morning hot mic. Back after this. All right, welcome back, everybody. Our thanks to Bryan Strand for giving us a few minutes. I had a couple of emails I wanted to get to. Hi, Dom. What are the Fargo area viewing options for the Bison games aired on the CW? I appreciate this question because on Sunday night, at the end of our preview show, I will have a best way. What's the best way to describe it? Not dissertation. That's too long. This is the best info I can give on where to watch the games. And I understand, we may have to carve out 5 minutes to do this every week on the show because it's going to be different. And I said this the day after the Mountain West news came official, that of all the things for people to get used to, and Mike talked about in the first hour about not having the Dakota Marker game anymore, not having the UND game anymore, and that's one thing. The one thing I've been asked the most about, it's probably because the job I have, is where can I watch the games? And we've tried to explain that as best we can over the last 6 months, and it's going to require more explaining as we go along. To answer the emailer's question, CW is on over the air. So that's just like if you're watching Hot Mic now on an antenna, that's where you can see the CW, I believe on 30-2. Like we're on 6-3 for extra. That's where you can find the CW. I believe for Midco, I think it's 616 if I remember correctly. But it's on over the air. You don't need cable. You don't need satellite. You don't need DirecTV or Dish for anything. You can just watch that flat out over the air. And that's, I think, the appeal, obviously, of why the Mountain West wanted to sign up with the CW, because there'd be more over-the-air games rather than cable like CBS Sports Network or Fox Sports 1, which are cable outlets that are a bit harder to find or to get. So that's how you can watch them. It will be a definite different part of it. On top of the fact that the games are going to be later, is the games aren't all going to be on WDAY. For years, KVOY had the broadcasts, and people were able to understand, okay, Channel 11 has the games outside of maybe if they were playing an FBS opponent, that Channel 11 was going to have them. We got the contract in 2021. I think people understood WDAY is going to have most of the games. That started to transition in the midst of our contract when ESPN came in with the Missouri Valley Football Conference and had the exclusive deal to take a couple of games a year, and obviously they took the South Dakota State game over the last couple of seasons. That I think going into this year, prior to the FBS move, I think we were only going to do 7 or 8 games max, because the road trips we were making to Incarnate Word and to Central Arkansas, those broadcasts were going to be ESPN Plus exclusive to those schools. Those schools weren't going to allow what they call side-by-side broadcasts, meaning that much like the Tennessee State game last year, it was going to only be exclusive to there. So in a way, this is better for the viewers here, because the games are now widely available on TV. To us, it's a net zero. We weren't going to be able to do the games. Because I'm just thinking off the top of my head, those 2 games definitely were out. There was the Missouri Valley Game of the Week, which they always took a road game. So I think the road games this year were going to be Youngstown. I think we were pining because I don't think anybody wanted to take our big truck all the way across the country to Youngstown, Ohio. So there's 3 games that we weren't going to be able to televise. And then ESPN would come in with its game, which we assumed was going to be South Dakota State. So there's 4. And that would have been a home game for the Bison this year. So at max, we were 7 or 8 was what we were talking about from the time the season ended in December to before this news came in early February. But my point being is that alone, people got used to finding the games on Channel 6. And we're beyond excited. We get to have a couple of them. And Bison Game Day is going to be back like it has been in its same time slot for the 5 years we've done it at 10 a.m. every Saturday. And I consistently get people asking me, why don't you do it later? Well, the little thing called ABC has games on all day. And we have that time slot. And I understand it goes against College Game Day, and I understand it's going to have some early times for us on the road this year. But that's the window we've carved out. I think people know it. They can find it. And the nice part is you can watch it again throughout the day. And we got some things we're going to be doing, too, on the road to keep your appetite whetted between 11 a.m. Central when we signed off and maybe 9 o'clock Central Time before the game actually starts. We'll tease you that as we get closer to the start of the year and some of the road games we have coming up. So I appreciate that, but that's where you can find it. CW is available over the air. Let's get one more here. And Dom, last week I speculated that perhaps 1 or 2 maybe sellouts might be the new normal due to the post-COVID economic environment being difficult for anyone relying upon discretionary spending of the entertainment dollar. And perhaps it isn't something unique or specific to NDSU. It appears that speculation is somewhat unfounded, given UND saw a 98% renewal rate for season tickets, and the remaining tickets were snapped up by those on the waiting list. That doesn't 100% equate to sellouts, but if past experience is an indicator, when the waiting list is that robust, the single-game tickets become in high demand. The economy certainly presents challenges, but it appears it isn't as big a factor as I thought. And that's maybe more unique to each individual entity. You know, if UND's, I have to remember, I don't know if they have 7 or 6 home games this year. I know last year I think they had 7. Or was that 2 years ago? They had 7 or 8 home games. They only played the road games. They only played were the games in the Valley. When you can stack that up, you have an opportunity to get more butts in the seats. If there was a magic bullet on this, we would have found it out years ago on why ticket sales are the way they are. Mike talked about it. It's trending towards Jacksonville State, and there's still, over 900 tickets left. Will be either pretty darn close or will be a sell. I think they're going to work their what's off to get that game sold out between now and next Saturday. Wyoming already is. I would have a feeling that Nevada will. Nevada being a night game. Fordham's going to be tough. We'll see on UTEP as Halloween, and then Northern Illinois is Senior Day, how that goes in that direction. But to Mike's, even if they get 3, and I'll give Adam Watts shout out, former forum reporter, put this out on social media, and he had a chart of what ticket sales have been over the last 7 years. Already, NDSU is way above a couple, even the last few years, which should tell you again the excitement level is where it's at for Bison football for this coming year. We'll see. The fans will be packed in there, and it's going to be quite the sight for that game coming up a week from Saturday. All right, we'll break. We come back. We'll head north to Grand Forks. We come back. Central hoping for a big year in 2026. Jake Schauer will join us, head coach of the Knights, trying to build off another successful season. That's coming up when we return on Hot Mic on WDAY Extra right after this.
This is Hot Mic with Dom Izzo, presented by Northwestern Mutual.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Our high school football power hour rolls on. We thank Bryan Strand for joining us. Start the hour, bottom of the hour here. We'll shift our attention back over to North Dakota. We know the season begins on Friday for Class A and 9-man schools. For the bigger schools in 2A and 3A, they still got a little bit of time. They open a week from Friday. That's the case for Grand Forks Central. They open up the new year with Bismarck St. Mary's. Back for his 5th year as head coach is Jake Schauer, who's done a great job in turning around that Knights team, of course, off a Dakota Bowl appearance a couple of years ago. 7 wins a year ago, and he joins us here. It's great to see you, bud. How you been?
It's been good. The summer just kind of rolls into the school year, and it's kind of just like Groundhog's Day all over again. But it's been good. It's definitely a good position to be in.
You're in that part of fall camp. This is like I call the dog days of it. How is it going now with scrimmage coming with a football game a week from Friday?
Yeah, we scrimmaged last week, and then you have that kind of week where it's just still a little bit different. We've got our guys conditioned and trained enough to where when the season starts and we're prepping for other teams, they know what a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday leading into Friday looks like. Whereas yesterday the kids were like still kind of on their toes. They're still wondering, are we offensive heavy, defensive heavy? So the practice planning is still a little bit different than it would look if we were to have a game on Friday. But the guys are doing great. We've got a good group of kids this year that's really resilient. They're really, really locked into, understanding that they have a job in front of them and they're going to accomplish that job by doing the little things the right way.
I remember when we talked when you got the job, when you left Thompson to take over, knowing full well the challenge in front of you. This is year 5. Are you right where you thought you'd be in terms of where the program is at, ahead of schedule? Give me your thoughts on that.
Yeah, I definitely didn't think we'd make a Dakota Bowl a couple of years ago, so that was probably ahead of schedule.
No.
But I think every year you just kind of have to take a step back and realize how far you've come, whether it's, the first step was, getting the numbers where we wanted them to be. And we did that. And then the next step is, how can you kind of retool your weight room while you're doing that? How can we do things more efficiently at practice? How can we do all those little things that build a program? And I think every year we're adapting, we're evolving, and we're tweaking things here or there. But I really like where we're at. They always say a 5-year plan. I like where we're at right now. We've got guys really thinking about football year round, which is good. We want multi-sport athletes. We love our hockey, our basketball, wrestlers, everything else built in there. but we want our guys thinking football at least a little bit all year round, whether you're in a winter sport, spring sport, whatever you're doing. They need to know that this operation never stops. And I think every program in the state's probably trying to think the same way. But it's just, how do you stay one step ahead of the competition? And I think we're doing that.
Was it, Jake, simple like word of mouth of getting the numbers up? How did that – obviously success goes a long way to have people come out too, but what were the grassroots to get more guys to come play football at Central?
Yeah, I don't think there was any magic formula to that. First of all, I've got great assistant coaches that really help when we do have an idea, whether it's my idea or someone else's idea. If it's one that we think can benefit our program, we try to do it to the best of our ability. Our youth camp has gotten to the point where we're bringing 100 kids in every year, and we're having fun. We're getting those kids thinking football late in July. That was something that really started getting our name out there, that we're Grand Forks Central, and this is kind of what we hang our hat on. Social media, I don't like going on there all the time, but it is powerful. If you can promote yourself through things like X and Instagram and Facebook, that's what the kids and their parents typically want to see. They want to see their kids getting recognition for their hard work. So doing those little things, and then other kids see that and they want to be a part of your program. And really, I think the best recruiting tool is your players saying, we're having a good experience. This is fun. We really enjoy and we're proud of being a part of Grand Forks Central football. And that's been the most powerful recruiting tool.
Now, I don't need to bring up things you already know, but you lost 3 all-EDC guys, but you bring your starting quarterback back. How does that temper it? Or I know it's tough. You lost those 3 guys. Can you describe that?
Yeah, those are 3 great players. Like, I'm not going to say they're all playing. They're all at college playing football right now, so they're pretty good.
Yes.
But I really feel like we've got guys that can pretty seamlessly come in and do what they did, if about the same, if not a little better. I would say, Eli Thompson and Brooklyn Bruce, those are 2 guys that what they did was really special as far as, they were mismatches. And then you had Naz Fisher last year who would just run through you and he wasn't going to be stopped. And Naz was a really special runner, but I think we've got guys like Carson Cutterba and Johnny Sherrick who can come in and play running back and do a similar job to how Naz played the position. And as far as Brooklyn, it's going to be a platoon. Brooklyn was a beast. That kid could go up, and for being 5'10", he played like he was 6'4". So to replace him will be a little tougher, but we've got 20 seniors, and I feel like all of them play wide receiver. So we've got to have someone kind of rise up there. We've got a lot of older guys that have been in the JV program. They've seen some varsity reps, but a lot of guys with that nice build that they're 6 foot to 6'2", and hopefully they can go up and get the ball. We've got a couple smaller guys that hopefully they can outrun someone and take the top off. But Eli Thompson at outside backer, luckily for us, when he got hurt 2 years ago, we had a sophomore kind of come in and play under him, and he's back. I think he led our team in tackles last year in Zethan Feldman, so he'll play some nice outside linebacker. Gosh, there's a horde of hockey players there too, and Walkenfuss and Cutterba again, and yeah, just some really nice surprises at the linebacker spot.
How about your QB being back? Tell me about that, how much comfortability that is during fall camp.
I've got a lot of trust in Brody Ledecky. He's a gamer. We talked about multi-sport athletes. He's a kid who scored a goal in the state championship of hockey. He rose up in the Cushman Classic last year and kind of said, I'm here. You're not taking me off the field. And then, he's also a baseball player who throws about 90. So, he's a gamer. We're really lucky to have him. But I think the most important thing he does is he leads. He's able to step on the field. He treats all of his teammates the same. Kids are gravitating towards him. But the other nice thing is that's a really good room for us. We've got Asher Fisher, who won the state javelin as a freshman last year, and he plays quarterback for us, and he's a sophomore. And, he's kind of got that Cole Payton mentality. He likes to run the ball, and he's 6'2", 200 pounds. So Asher's a stud. And then you also have this kid named Jackson Bossert, and he's a sophomore, and he's a junior, but from sophomore to junior year, I don't think I've ever seen a kid improve like that. So really nice depth at the quarterback position. But it's like I said, a lot of that is assistant coaches digging into these kids and really getting the most out of them.
The hot rumor I'm hearing is the Grand Forks schools are moving up to 3A next year. What can you tell me about that?
They don't tell me these things, so I don't know. Some people say it to me. Some people, I'm just like, whatever. They don't. Yeah. I'm not cued in on these meetings, so I'm just going to coach football, and wherever I'm at, we're going to play the team that's in the opposite color.
You feel like the numbers, though, would suit doing that now where you're at?
I think we just need stability.
Mm-hmm.
I think back to we went to a state championship 2 years ago. The next year we had a senior class of 6.
Yeah.
That's not good at any level.
No.
So I think we still need to find stability in our program, where it's like some years it's like, okay, we have way too much equipment. We don't have the numbers we need. And some years it's like, holy cow, I got an emergency order or this, that, and the other. So finding stability will be big for us as wherever we're at, single A, double A, triple A, whatever you want us to play. We need to find stability. To
have the success, though, comes with it, I guess, and the numbers are there. You feel like you're closing in on getting there, stability?
Yeah, it's kind of like we talk to our players about every day. I think our program, as far as our individuals, are improving every day. We're trying to, like I said, our operations and everything like that, we're getting better. And a lot of that, too, is just like in Fargo, our youth football is great. The guys we have running our Greater Grand Forks youth football, Paul Strandy, they do a phenomenal job getting these kids excited about football. We just need to find a way to not lose them in middle school. And, I'd be lying if I didn't say that we got to find a way to keep our hockey players playing football. We've got some really good athletes in this town, and a lot of them leave. Hockey's amazing in this town. My kids play, and they do a great job getting those kids hooked early, and we want more multi-sport athletes.
The fact that you got a couple hockey guys, though, that's got to start the train, right? You'd think.
Yeah, we hope so.
Yeah.
It's all about kids' mentality.
Right.
I talk about Brody Ledege. Brody's a hockey player, but he's just as much a football player and a baseball player.
Yeah.
That's what we need to kind of get our kids back to.
I see you have a road trip to Dickinson. At least you're not going to Watford this year. Tell us about that. You got Kindred on the schedule as well, which I'll get to them in a second because that's its own conversation. But what do you make of the games you have laid out, starting with St. Mary's next week?
Yeah, I think St. Mary's is one of the top teams in the West. I mean, you watch the film from last year. They caught some tough breaks here, and that's a tough – it's one of those things where whoever makes the trip, you're probably down a touchdown getting off the bus. But the running back, he's a really cerebral player. His cuts are different. He plays with a different tempo than other players in the state. I would say he's one of the top running backs at any level when you watch Beckett Price play football. Quarterback position will probably be better. Last year they were kind of dancing between a couple guys. I would guess they'll probably name a starter and stick with him. But the big downfall for us playing St. Mary's week 1 is they have a new coach again. So
right.
This film is probably not worth anything, but it's up to us coaches to try to figure out a game plan when you don't have any film, So maybe they have some carryover, maybe they don't. We just need to focus on what we do and dictate the tempo of that game. But yeah, you have a lot of tough teams on the schedule. That Dickinson trip it's a different animal.
Yeah.
I mean, when you're getting home and it's 4 a.m, it's like, this is nuts. But it's like I said earlier, if you're on the schedule, we're going to play you. We're going to give you everything we got.
Hey, I'll give you a call because I'll be getting back that time with the Bison trip out west. It's about that, so we can commiserate at least about what to do when because you got young kids like I mean they'll be ready to go really quick too.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I still remember the last time we made this trip. I think I had to go on the radio the next morning at 8, and then there was a potato bowl parade for UND after, and I was in zombie mode. So, but it's one of those things, an extra cup of coffee, and you just survive the fall.
So my wife, we went to Arizona. The Bison played at 10 o'clock at night, right? I got back the next day, and I was up red eye, and I didn't fall asleep. And my wife said to me, "Boy, you must be tired." And I said, "Why?" She said, "Well, you're not talking." So I'm like, well, yeah, it kind of goes with the territory on
absolutely.
that. Last thing before we go. So Kindred's out there. Obviously, and I know it's not till later in the season, but obviously the guys got to know about that. How do you not necessarily guard about looking ahead, but knowing, hey, they're on the schedule. We're going to have to play them later on down the road.
Yeah, I've got nothing but respect for that program. I played college ball with Coach Bergad. Actually lived with him last year during the Shrine Bowl for a week, and he does things right, and he operates at a level that is, producing, and they're doing a great job with the athletes they have. Coach Starcevic was my defensive coordinator in Thompson, so knowing a lot of those coaches, you kind of you know that when you have Kinder on the schedule, everything needs to be amplified a little bit more. You know, when you're playing athletes like Luke Starcevic, Brooks Bacco, I think the Fields kid's a great athlete. He killed us last year. He's a stud, you know, and I know they had a good running back last year get hurt, and he only played like 3 games. So their top-end athletes are going to be just as good as anyone's in the state, whether it's a Bismarck High or a Davies, whoever it is. Those 4 big athletes are – you got to find them. You got to stop them.
It's great to catch up, but I love doing this. Good luck to start the season. I know we'll talk throughout the year. Appreciate the time this morning, okay?
Yeah, thanks, Dom.
Good to see you, bud. There he is, Jake Schauer, head coach at Grand Forks Central. Knights open up a week from Friday, August the 28th, out west against Bismarck St. Mary's. He won't say it, but everything I've heard is trending that the Grand Forks girls are going to be back up in 3A. And there's some challenges. The people at Fargo North were all upset with me about it when it went down a couple of years ago, but that's where they belong. Fargo South belongs there. And if they want to, we talked about this last week with Andy Delabar was, I forget who was, I think it was on, but we got to, it was Josh Kravachka from Langdon. We got to get the top fixed, and that means getting 3A right. And when that's done, everything else will be filtered to the right water level it's supposed to be at. All right, let's take our final break. We come back, we'll wrap things up, get you ready for Pretty Good Sports Tuesday on tap. We'll do that when Hot Mike wraps up on WDAY Extra right after this. All right, wrapping things up here on a Tuesday morning. We're back with you tomorrow. Sam Herder will join us. That's our new time slot for Sam to chat some FCS ball. I know Mike's done with FCS football. That's fine. I'm sure plenty are as well, but we're not going to be done with it completely. We'll have still time for Sam to chat about it. We'll do that tomorrow. Coach's poll is out, and we're getting close. Remember, there are games starting on Thursday, a week from Thursday. UND plays a week from Thursday. We'll discuss that coming up on the show tomorrow. There is something cosmically that has to be cursed with the teams I cheer for. It's unbelievable. The Mets are having, actually the last 2 weeks they've been pretty good since they traded all their guys. They've turned it around, but they're still 12 games under 500. They're having a disastrous year for a team that spent $300 million. They're not going to make the playoffs, right? Another year where we miss out. The Jets is a whole other deal. Somebody asked me this weekend, why? I wish I had a better answer why it's my team. If it was simply when I was younger, then they rhyme with the Mets, maybe, but that's the one I've gone with. And the litany of things that have happened just since 2010. 2010 was the last time the Jets made the playoffs. Think about that. We have people here that weren't even out of elementary school in 2010 that work on this show, right? And how much has happened? It's 2026. And here today, Ian Rappaport, NFL Network, tweets out this. Breece Hall, out 2 to 3 weeks, but will be ready for game 1 with a groin injury. Aaron Glenn, the head coach, said he strained it in practice Monday, but is expected to, quote, be ready for the regular season. Hall went down on the grass field without being touched. He caught a swing pass in the red zone and was running toward an apparent touchdown, but he dropped to a knee a few yards from the end zone. He was examined in a tent before leaving for the locker room. If that's not the Jets' bleeping history in one sentence, I don't know what is. He caught a swing pass in the red zone and was running for an apparent touchdown, but dropped to a knee a few yards before it. That's the Jets' entire existence. He cannot make it up. Not that I was expecting great things anyway, but they have built themselves. They had, I thought, a really good draft. All they're missing is the quarterback part of this, which they're entrusting to former Jets draft pick Geno Smith as their guy in 2026. It'd just be nice once to have a really nice fall because the Mets very rarely have done it. It'd be nice if the Jets could at least pick up their end of the bargain. That ain't going to happen in 2026. Not with their best player getting hurt again. Without fail. Just Connor McGovern's going to be by here soon. I'm going to be emceeing a thing for TNT Fitness here. And Connor obviously played with the Jets, played with Aaron Rodgers out there. I have to ask him. Just the mentality that when you play for the Jets, it just automatically just something seems to go awry. Let's do some what to watch before we get out of here. Every year. Come on. All right, what to watch brought to us by our friends at Northwestern Mutual. Twins, I mentioned, coming up game 2 of their series with the Braves tonight. 6:30 on Twins TV for that one. Pretty good one in the WNBA tonight. The Dream and the Aces. That's Atlanta and Las Vegas, 8 o'clock on ESPN. Those are two of the best teams going. Vegas is right now in 3rd place in the WNBA standings. And if you saw the end of that Cubs game last night, former Met great Pete Crow Armstrong in a walk-off home run. They got the White Sox tonight on TBS. Our thanks to Tim Polasek, to Mike McFeely, to Jake Schauer and Bryan Strand. If you missed any of the show, you can podcast it later today at inforum.com. Of course, you can watch a full replay of our shows, all of them available on WDAY+. Thanks for making us part of your day, everybody. Have a terrific Tuesday. We'll see you back here tomorrow.